And I guess bringing in a new White Wolf at this point in the season, a bold move and a tall order for Liam.
And of course, he wanted to honor the character that had already been set up, because he knows that he's stepping into a role. But at the same time, he wanted to make sure that his performance was authentic, that it felt like him, that he wasn't playing and mimicking anything. And so
they're promoting it all that much because here it is, season 4 for The Witcher. Not looking good so far when it comes to the reviews.
For all the positive reviews, well, you've got IGN, that's never a good sign, and as Critical Drinker says, they can't exactly be trusted when The Penguin got a 5, The Witcher got a 7, and The Marvels got an 8. It basically looks like their score goes up the more girl power a series has.
Siri.
I watched about 40 minutes of the first episode, and I ended up texting Gary, and I just said, dude, I cannot do this. I'm 40 odd minutes in. I'm done. I've had enough. This is utter.
Comes out that we'll see of Henry Cavill as Geralt. You saw the fan reaction. 300,000 people have signed this petition to keep Henry Cavill and fire the writers instead. Well, we know that's not going to happen.
Something just snapped in the Witcher fandom, and it's not what Netflix expected. Barely a week after Season 4 hit the platform, what should have been a triumphant return turned into a full-blown disaster. Reddit threads are burning, YouTube critics are tearing the show apart, and fans, they're furious. But here's the twist. The real shock isn't the backlash itself, it's who decided to speak up. Because after months of silence, Henry Cavill finally broke through the noise, and the words he aimed at the show's creators sent shockwaves across the entire entertainment industry. It's almost poetic. The same man who once carried this series, who fought to protect its soul, who became Geralt of Rivia in every sense, is now watching the world he helped build collapse in real time. What was supposed to be a bold new chapter with Liam Hemsworth stepping in has become one of Netflix's biggest flops of the decade.
Netflix waited to release The Witcher Season 4 trailer till a month before it actually premiered on Netflix. The first look that everyone got at Liam Hemsworth replacing Henry Cavill as Geralt. You knew that they knew it was going to be a monumental disaster. But that starting point is not good for this show. And we knew that Season 4 was going to be a disaster. We knew why Henry Cavill left. It's about the activist showrunners and the activists at Netflix doing what they want with the character, regardless of whether that's in line with what everyone else loves. We saw Lauren Schmidt-Hissrich say this in the lead-up. Geralt is a little funnier this season. He's a little more dry. He's also a lot more emotional. He's going through a lot of different things than we've seen in the past. That's what everybody wants. An emotional Geralt. It's exactly what everyone's looking for.
Fans are calling it soulless, cheap, a parody of itself. But buried under all the chaos is something deeper. A story of creative betrayal, pride, and a warning ignored. Because if what insiders are saying is true, Henry Cavill didn't just walk away quietly. He saw this coming long before anyone else did. And when the fire finally started, he made sure everyone knew exactly who lit the match. The first signs of disaster hit within hours of Season 4's premiere. What was meant to be a celebration quickly spiraled into outrage. Fans flooded Reddit, TikTok, and X with clips mocking the show's tone, calling it a generic fantasy shell of what it once was. The audience score on Rotten Tomatoes nosedived into the low 40s before the weekend was even over. For longtime fans, something felt off. The writing was hollow, the pacing awkward, and the characters they'd fallen in love with felt like strangers. And worst of all, Geralt didn't feel like Geralt anymore.
Henry Cavill warned everybody. Henry Cavill argued with them. Henry Cavill made it very clear that he was not happy with how they portrayed his character and the entire universe within The Witcher because it went against the books and it went against the games. They were not following the lore, and he knew what fans wanted. That's why he fucking left. So we knew years ago that this was going to be a nightmare. But that nightmare is very, very close to a reality now for Netflix.
I have always looked at fan reactions, whether they be fully supportive or negative or aggressive or whatever they may be, as passion. Fans are just passionate. I'm a fan.
Enter Liam Hemsworth, stepping into the boots of a legend. The fandom didn't want to hate him. Many hoped he'd surprise everyone, maybe even breathe new life into the role. But by episode 2, that hope had vanished. Side-by-side clips comparing Cavill's stoic power to Hemsworth's unsure delivery went viral overnight. One Reddit comment summed it up perfectly. It's like watching someone imitate Geralt rather than be him. By day 3, #NotMyGeralt was trending worldwide. YouTube reviews called the recast a creative disaster. Even mainstream outlets joined the frenzy. But what fans didn't realize was that the meltdown they were witnessing wasn't spontaneous. It had been brewing for months behind closed doors, and Henry Cavill had tried to stop it before it ever reached this point. For years, Henry Cavill played the diplomat. He smiled through interviews, praised the team, and kept his words professional. But anyone paying close attention could sense the tension. Cavill wasn't just acting in The Witcher, he lived it. He'd read the books, studied the lore, and pushed relentlessly to keep the show faithful to Andrei Sapkowski's original tone. But inside the writer's room, creative differences were brewing. Reports claim Cavill repeatedly warned showrunner Lauren Schmidt-Heinrich and her team that they were drifting too far from the heart of the source material. Instead of embracing the dark, philosophical essence of the novels, the scripts were becoming modernized, lighter, and more marketable. Cavill allegedly told them flat out the show was losing its soul. It's said that these warnings weren't well received. The team defended their vision, insisting audiences wanted something cinematic and fresh. Cavill disagreed, quietly but firmly. And when those differences grew too wide to bridge, he made his choice. He walked away before the damage was irreversible. Fast forward to now, and fans are starting to realize he might have been right all along. Because when Season 4 finally landed and the world saw what The Witcher had become, Cavill's departure stopped feeling like a loss and started looking like a warning ignored. When Netflix announced Liam Hemsworth as the new Geralt, the reaction was cautious optimism. Nobody blamed him for stepping in, but they all knew he had enormous shoes to fill. The problem wasn't Liam, it was the shadow hanging over him. Henry Cavill was The Witcher. He didn't just play Geralt, he embodied him. As soon as the first episodes dropped, fans flooded social media with side-by-side comparisons. Cavill's quiet intensity versus Hemsworth's hesitant tone. The internet exploded with edits, reaction videos, and breakdowns dissecting every line delivery. The verdict was brutal. Comments said it felt like a cosplay version of the original, a hollow copy, a man wearing someone else's scars. And suddenly, the fandom turned from disappointment to anger. They weren't just mourning an actor, they were mourning the version of The Witcher they'd fallen in love with. Cavill's authenticity, his attention to detail, his respect for the source material, it had all vanished overnight. Within days, hashtags like Fire Lauren and #JusticeForHenry flooded timelines. But as the internet raged, Henry Cavill himself stayed silent. No statements, no interviews, just calm, dignified distance. And that silence, it was louder than anything Netflix could post. Henry Cavill has always played the long game. Even when fans begged him to reveal the truth behind his exit, he chose grace over gossip. But every so often, he'd drop a single sentence that hinted at what really went down. In one older interview, he said, "Stories lose their soul when those telling them stop respecting where they came from." Months later, that very quote appeared on one of Cavill's fan pages, and the internet lost its mind. Was this a direct shot at the Witcher team? Nobody could confirm it, but nobody doubted it either. It spread like wildfire, shared millions of times across Reddit, TikTok, and YouTube. Fans saw it as Henry's poetic revenge, subtle, elegant, and devastatingly true. And just when the storm started to calm, something else happened. Late one night, a cryptic message appeared on a verified Cavill-affiliated account. You can't claim to honor a story if you don't understand it. 12 words, that's all it took to reignite the fire. No context, no hashtags, but everyone knew what it meant. Overnight, Henry Cavill trended in more than a dozen countries. Major outlets ran headlines. Henry Cavill breaks his silence, and fans are losing it. The quote became a rallying cry. Fans flooded Netflix's pages demanding accountability. Cavill never followed up. He didn't need to. One sentence had said everything. While fans were united, Netflix was scrambling. Behind the scenes, executives reportedly panicked as viewership numbers tanked and social media sentiment hit rock bottom. But instead of addressing the backlash, Netflix did what it always does. It went quiet. No statements, no explanations, just a stream of scheduled promo clips pretending everything was fine. The silence only made things worse. Fans felt ignored, disrespected, and dismissed. Then, suddenly, entertainment blogs began releasing eerily similar articles. Liam Hemsworth deserves a chance. Season 4 marks a bold new direction. People saw right through it. They called it what it was, PR damage control. And it backfired spectacularly. For every flattering article, there were thousands of comments tearing them apart. TikTok edits mocked the PR spin. Memes compared Netflix's silence to watching a dragon burn while pretending it's snowing. Even loyal subscribers started turning away. What Netflix didn't understand was that this wasn't just a PR issue. It was personal. Fans weren't just angry about a bad season. They felt betrayed. The same fans who once made The Witcher a global hit were now leading a digital rebellion. Just when everyone thought the drama had finally cooled down, a single post on Reddit reignited the fire, and this time, it wasn't from fans. It was allegedly from someone inside the machine. A self-described former crew member claimed that what fans were seeing on screen was only the surface of something far worse happening behind the scenes. At first, nobody believed it. Internet insiders pop up all the time. But then came screenshots, emails, meeting notes, even snippets of internal memos, all pointing to the same chilling reality. The downfall of The Witcher wasn't a surprise. It was predicted months in advance.
According to one of the leaks, multiple creative staff members had begged the higher-ups not to move forward without Cavill. "You're removing the spine of the show," one alleged email read. Another message from a producer reportedly called Cavill's departure a death sentence that management refuses to admit. Whether these leaks were legitimate or not almost didn't matter, because they felt real. Every line echoed what fans already suspected, that this wasn't about creative vision anymore. It was about control. Then came the bombshell. A supposed internal report surfaced online claiming that Netflix had spent over $12 million on what they called an image rehabilitation campaign. The goal? To reshape the public narrative around Liam Hemsworth's recasting and repair audience sentiment before Season 4's release. The strategy allegedly included influencer sponsorships, early access to select creators' content, and a carefully orchestrated PR rollout. But the internet caught on almost instantly. You can't buy authenticity, and no amount of marketing spin could hide what fans felt in their gut, that The Witcher had lost its soul. Then came the bombshell. A supposed internal report surfaced online claiming that Netflix had spent over $12 million on what they called an image rehabilitation campaign. The goal? To reshape the public narrative around Liam Hemsworth's recasting and repair audience sentiment before Season 4's release. The strategy allegedly included influencer sponsorships, early access to select creators' content, and a carefully orchestrated PR rollout. But the internet caught on almost instantly. You can't buy authenticity, and no amount of marketing spin could hide what fans felt in their gut, that The Witcher had lost its soul. As the leaks kept dropping, the narrative took a darker turn. Anonymous posts claimed morale inside Netflix had hit emergency levels. Departments blamed each other. Executives reportedly clashed over who approved Cavill's departure in the first place. Even more disturbing, one supposed message described a final internal meeting as the quietest room you'll ever hear. It was said that nobody wanted to be the one to say out loud what everyone already knew. They destroyed something irreplaceable. And then, like gasoline on a fire, came the quote that burned across the internet. An alleged text from a crew member, shared by an anonymous source, simply read, "We should have listened." 3 words. That's all it took. Fans turned it into a mantra. Memes, t-shirts, edits, even podcasts opened with it. "We should have listened" became a symbol of what happens when corporate ego drowns out creative passion. But what really cemented this chapter as legend wasn't just the leaks themselves. It was Netflix's silence. No denials, no confirmations, just a void. And that void made the leaks feel even truer. Because in the age of the internet, silence doesn't protect you, it condemns you. Suddenly, The Witcher wasn't just another struggling show. It became a case study in arrogance. The platform that once prided itself on innovation was now accused of losing touch with the very audience that made it powerful. Commentators started calling it Netflix's Game of Thrones moment, the point where a beloved fantasy franchise collapses under its own hubris. And the most ironic part, Henry Cavill wasn't even there to say a word. He didn't post, didn't like, didn't share, but his absence hovered over every leak, every headline, every apology that came too late. Because deep down, everyone, from the writer's room to the fans on Reddit, knew exactly what those 3 words meant. They should have listened. As the chaos grew, Henry Cavill stayed completely silent, and that silence made him a legend. Fans began treating him like a symbol, the man who stood for artistic integrity in a world of corporate meddling. His calm, his restraint, his dignity, it all contrasted perfectly with Netflix's damage control circus. Meme pages compared him to Geralt himself, walking away from a burning village, sword on his back, saying nothing. Entertainment analysts started calling him the only actor who left a franchise and got more respect for it. His reputation didn't just survive the fallout, it skyrocketed. Meanwhile, Netflix's reputation cratered. Merch sales plummeted, subscriber trust eroded. Even Liam Hemsworth, unfairly caught in the crossfire, retreated from social media. He hadn't done anything wrong, but he'd been placed in an impossible position. By week 2, the numbers were undeniable. The Witcher, Season 4, wasn't just underperforming, it had imploded. Critics called it a live meltdown, fans called it Netflix's biggest betrayal, and through it all, Cavill said nothing, because he didn't have to. The silence said everything. By November, The Witcher was officially one of Netflix's worst-performing fantasy series ever. Analysts called it a brand implosion. But among the wreckage, one truth became crystal clear. Henry Cavill had won without ever raising his voice. He didn't fight online, he didn't throw blame, he just walked away with his integrity intact. Every headline, every podcast, every fan video circled back to him, the man who saw the storm coming, tried to stop it, and left before it hit. And as the dust finally settled, the fandom agreed on one thing. Henry Cavill is Geralt of Rivia. No amount of recasting, rewriting, or corporate spin can ever change that. Because The Witcher may still exist, but for millions of fans around the world, its soul left with him. And if the rumors are true, if Henry Cavill still has more to say about what really went down behind the scenes, then Netflix might want to brace itself, because this story, it's far from over.